There are reactions this evening to the brewing controversy over whether convicted dancehall entertainer Vybz Kartel should be allowed to release songs while being imprisoned.
The issue has been the source of fierce public discussion since it was raised by Member of Parliament for South East St. Anne, Lisa Hanna. In an interview on Nationwide Radio, Ms. Hanna also suggested that perhaps songs of the convicted artists such as Vybz should be banned from the airwaves. TVJ's Vashon Brown has more.
It's what scores of people on social media have been talking about Lisa Hanna's comments on radio earlier this week. The Southeast St. Anne MP has been facing the heat since saying if you're a convicted artist like Vybz Kartel, your music perhaps should not be played on radio. The former culture minister has also been getting death threats on social media since her comments. Some of the comments are too violent to be repeated, but George on Facebook said, "Lisa, stay off Kartel career, you're too bad man. Go style up Jamaica system before you seek fame from Kartel." Taib said, "Lisa Hanna, you're going too far. What you need to do is leave Vybz Kartel alone." Khalil on Twitter said, "I can't believe Lisa Hanna would go after Vybz Kartel. He's like the Beyonce of Jamaica." Head of the Institute of Caribbean Studies at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Sonia Stanley-Nair, is among those weighing in.
So to be quite honest, I think that the media is giving it too much attention. I think that the prevailing comments in the media, if we were to break them down, there would be three major things. One is her comment, the reaction to her comment, and the way in which those reactions tell us about some of the social ills, in fact. Some might add social pathologies within the context of Jamaica.
Dr. Stanley Nair says when one speaks of banning any music from the airwaves, context is important. She points out that radio is no longer the space of currency. More people are now gravitating towards the internet. The penal system has also been facing scrutiny. There have been concerns that Kartel is seemingly being able to produce music from behind bars.
Do we need to do a real assessment of the penal system to say someone who is incarcerated cannot perform, cannot record, cannot have their music released in particular ways? And I would be against that, incidentally, because I remember in the context of Jacure, there was a rehabilitation program that was designed to take into account the talents of people within the system. I believe that music can be a transformational force.
Another academic and lecturer in the Department of Caribbean Studies, Dr. Lisa Tomlinson, says recording music in a penal system can be part of rehabilitation. But does it matter the type of lyrics?
So we have to think about, look at it from a holistic perspective. Are all the lyrics violent? And if so, I don't think it's even fair to be zooming in on 2 or 3 lyrics that might just be violent. It's not to condone violence, but we have to be realistic here in terms of what we're talking about, violent lyrics. I'm not a Kartel fan. I haven't been listening to all of his lyrics. However, I don't see his lyrics any differently from artists who are outside singing, the same type of genre of music.
Vashon Brown, TVJ News.
In the meantime, we sought a reaction from the junior minister in the National Security Ministry, Colonel Charles Jr., relating to the policy on inmates recording music while serving their sentence. He, however, directed us to the Commissioner of Corrections, Ina Hunter, whom he said would be the best person to speak to the issue. When we contacted the Commissioner's office, we were told to send an email. The Commissioner's assistant acknowledged that the office had received the email and said it would be brought to her attention.
And the business partner of convicted dancehall entertainer Vybz Kartel, Michael Dawson, has reacted to the controversy. Mr. Dawson was speaking on RJR's hotline this morning. Mr. Dawson, who also co-authored a book with Vybz Kartel, says he's not in favor of censorship.
I think that we should do whatever the law mandates. However, I, as a writer, and one who produces theatre and so forth, I don't believe in any form of censorship at all. So as a personal view, I think that, Hitler has a book. We've seen writings from several people that we don't like. I try to learn from people that I don't like as much as those who I have some commonality with.
He said he has no knowledge of Vybz Kartel producing songs since being incarcerated. Since Ms. Hanna made the comments, she has faced backlash on social media, including death threats.
The government is being urged to look closely at the example of August Town, St. Andrew, as it tries to complete a new crime plan. The community made history last year, and as TVJ's Herman Green reports, two stakeholders are saying the government needs to take note.
For all the talk of the need for new crime-fighting methods, the councillor for the Papine Division, Venetia Phillips, says there is one tried and proven strategy. For the councillor, Augustown, a community that falls in her division, is a case in point, and she thinks it's where the government needs to look as it tries to devise a crime-fighting strategy. The community, which had a long history of crime, made national news after achieving 0 murders in 2016.
It is about the culture and psyche of our people. When I was a child, I used to have policemen and women come into my school at Rollington Town Primary, and it wasn't career day.
She argued that Augustown proves that community policing works.
If you don't believe me, ask the youths of Hermitage and Jungle 12 and Vietnam and everywhere. Where else in Jamaica right now you will have young men who have been at the center of conflict who can get up and say, oh, see the general, them are come there, they don't have to run off the corners when them see a jeep.
Fitz Bailey, the head of the Area 2 Police Division, who used to be stationed in Augustown, is also touting the benefits of a community policing approach.
If we are to gain the success that we gain in Augustown, citizens within community will have to take responsibility. They must take it. They cannot stand by and wonder why things happen. They must cause things to happen. Whilst I continue to serve in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the experience of Augustown will guide some of the strategies that I will use. I've started it in St. Anne.
The two were speaking at a ceremony yesterday at which 27 Jamaica Constabulary Force personnel were awarded for their contribution to crime fighting and conflict resolution. Herman Green, TVJ News.
A man who engaged the police in a physical altercation in St. Anne's Bay last weekend is facing several charges. He is to face the courts next month. It's the latest development in the story, which has gone viral. TVJ's Janella Pursues has the primetime news follow-up.
In the incident which went down in St. Anne's Bay, the owner of the vehicle was not backing down as police tried to seize his motor car. According to the police, the vehicle was being used as an illegal taxi. The person operating it was stopped. He complied. However, he fled the scene, abandoning the vehicle. The owner then came to retrieve the car, but he was prevented from doing so by the cops. This is what led to the brawl. He managed to escape, but surrendered to the police on Monday.
The owner of the taxi, Mr. Davian Barnaby from Lima, has since turned himself in. He was subsequently charged for the offences. Among them were obstructing the police, assaulting the police, malicious destruction of property, dangerous driving, and 2 outstanding warrants that was executed on him. He was brought before the court on the 21st. And he is next for court on the 27th of March.
The incident spurred widespread condemnation by St. Anne residents who argue that the police were unprofessional in their approach.
The incident was unfortunate, and would prefer that that didn't occur. As it relates to the police action, the whole issue of the rules of engagement is being examined, and but it is really interesting to say that we expect that in a civil society, a social democracy, we expect that citizens adhere to the rules of law to ensure that our country remain on its path for growth and development.
Despite the criticism, the police say they will continue to do their job.
The police is a law enforcement agent and expected to maintain law and order within the society. The police don't act on their own, but actually representing